So of course, if there's a hip flexor, there's a hip extensor. Okay. So the hip extensor is actually your glutes. Okay. Your glutes actually plays a very significant role in straightening yourself up. Yeah. So a lot of people say it's actually the erector spinae, but it's not, because the erector spinae only runs from this area. It's a very complex muscle, and it attaches to the tailbone, or just above your tailbone. So if you think about it, there's not much leverage coming from the erector spinae to straighten up. Whereas the glute actually starts from this area. It actually runs from here, and it runs all the way down 45 degrees out to meet the top 1/3 of your leg muscle. So it pulls down, it actually pulls down your pelvis this way against your leg. So it actually does this motion. Yeah, it's fully glutes. Yeah, it's really mostly glutes. It's not erector spinae, it's not hamstring, it's all glutes. Okay? So the reason why I'm focusing on the glutes now is because if your glutes are atrophied, and weak, they are not going to be able to counter the hip flexor being tight, and then you're going to end up being bent over like this, and then you're going to walk like an old man or old woman for the rest of your life. Okay? So I guess the crux of this talk is actually the importance of glutes being strong, and the importance of stretching your hip flexor in correcting your posture and avoiding injuries. Okay? So let's go back to the glutes. Okay? The glutes is a very strange muscle as well. It only activates from 0 degrees to -5 degrees. Okay? So only from here to here. Yeah, you realize when you're doing this, you're not working the glutes because you're doing hamstring. Okay? So correspondingly, when you're doing this, you're doing your deadlifts, your straight legs, your Romanians, you're activating your hamstrings, the top part of your hamstring. Only when you're coming up and then you're squeezing your butt and pushing it forward, then you're activating the glutes at the top 5 degrees of movement backwards. Okay? So the reason why it has such a short activation range of motion is because the glutes was designed to push off. When you're walking, you're pushing off. At the back, you're squeezing your glutes and you're having a toe off. Okay? Toe off, squeeze your glutes. So of course, many people, because when you sit down all the time, you're using your computer, your glutes are always stretched, so they become weak and they become atrophied over your whole life. Yeah. Imagine 40 years sitting down, your glutes are being stretched, and you're not going to be, you've never squeezed your glutes like to the max before, yeah, of course they're going to get atrophied. So when they're atrophied, the hip flexors are going to become tighter and tighter, and then you're going to become like that. Okay? So glutes. Okay, so now, going back to lower back pain, glutes, important. Helps to straighten up the body. Next, hip flexor, important as well. Need to stretch, okay? So now we're going to get to something more applicable. I'm going to teach the basic quad stretch and how you're going to use it properly to actually stretch your quads and your hip flexor at the same time. Okay. Okay, so this is the standard quad stretch. Everybody knows about it. Okay. I'm just going to give a few pointers to improve your quad stretch and make sure that you're stretching not just your quads, but getting your hip flexor slightly stretched as well. Okay, so from the side, this is very useful, and then whenever you stretch your quads, you can use it as well. It generally helps with lower back pain, but yeah, if your hip flexor is tight for a very, very long period of time, yeah, it can't be helped. See a doctor. Okay, so the most important part of this stretch is actually when you're stretching your quad. Of course, when you stretch, you feel the stretch here. But the most important part is to check the angle between your leg and your torso. Okay, it must be more than 0 degrees. So what I told him to do, you have to go and squeeze your butt and then push your pelvis forward. Okay, squeeze your butt and push your pelvis forward. That way, you're not going to just feel the quad stretch, but you're going to feel the hip flexor stretch as well. So in this case, yeah, it's not, his hip flexor isn't very flexible, you see, because his knee is all the way up. Yeah, this way is better. So you're going to keep your knees in line from the side view, and then you're going to squeeze the butt and push it forward. Yeah. Okay, so you're going to, like that. Keep your knees in the midline and squeeze the butt, push forward, like that. Okay? Yeah, no point doing your quad stretch like that and then you're going to hop in. Yeah, it's not a quad stretch at all. Okay, so you're going to squeeze your butt and make sure your knee is in midline. Stretch like that. And hold it for 5 deep breaths. Okay? Okay, I don't know whether you guys want to try, but yeah, that's how you do your quad stretch and get your hip flexor stretch in as well. Okay, so the second one is another hip flexor stretch that we're gonna talk about. Okay, so it works on a similar principle. So I'm gonna stretch my hip flexor over here. So most important, I'm gonna get my pelvis straight, both pockets pointing to straight. I'm gonna slide this foot forward, and then I'm going to squeeze my butt and push my pelvis forward. So imagine you have a pocket and then you're pushing it forward, okay? Yeah, this is more focused towards your hip flexor. So you see the angle between my lower leg and my torso, it's more than 0 degrees, so I'm stretching it. Yeah. One more thing is not to up your upper back. You're going to suck in your core as well and sit down, so you're not going to actually keep it loose and like that. You're going to hold it in and then push your pockets forward like that. Okay? Yeah. And of course, same way from the front. Yeah. Slide forward, engage your core, squeeze your butt, push forward like that. Okay? Yeah. Generally people, because they are very tight, they tend to do like that. So you see, my pockets are this way now. But I want to keep my pockets straight forward, pushing and stretching for the hip flexor. Okay? Okay, so with these two stretches, hopefully you get to stretch your hip flexor more. They're less tight, and then you're avoiding the hunched over posture that people usually have. Okay, and I guess that's the end of part 1 of the talk. Yeah. Any questions regarding the hip flexor?